Hey guys, it's the Mystic Messenger. I'm back again. I have a quick message that I wanted to get out today as so far as something that just happened to me, and I think it's really necessary to discuss. And that is people pleasers. Confrontation is necessary. So I myself will definitely admit that I am a recovering people pleaser. Ever since I can remember, I put more value in me helping others and taking care of others and making sure that other people liked me. And that definitely took priority over me taking care of myself. That was a long journey and a long lesson for me to realize that it's not my job to take care of everybody else, but it is my job to take care of myself. And I want to share with you a lesson that I got when I was a younger woman, probably around 20. And she was a healer, shaman, energy worker. And I was seeing her because I was just in the beginning phases of my battle with systemic lupus. And of course, I was seeing traditional Western doctors, but of course, with my past, I was attracted to the spiritual realm as well as far as healing. Probably why I do what I do today. But I met this woman and she said to me very gracefully, Stephanie, you want to be a healer, you want to help, right? And I said, absolutely, I want to help. That's why I'm here. And she very bluntly said to me, which scared the living daylights out of me, you're not going to help anybody if you're dead. And because she was an energy healer, I immediately went into this panic because I thought, oh my God, does she see me dying like in 6 months? And I don't know. So I went into this panic, but realized over my years and my development, and now more than ever, that she was right. You can't help anybody if you're dead. And I've had a real profound journey with almost losing my life a couple of times and having to continuously remind myself, it's not your job to fix everybody. Now, that being said, if you work in a healing profession, you kind of feel as though it's part of your responsibility to be, qualified to do this work if you do help people. So there's a fine balance between you as a healer showing up to do your best authentically for somebody else, but then also there's a point where you need to just realize that each individual soul is on their own unique journey for their evolution, and there's only so much you can do. And when that starts to interfere with your own boundary system and your own health and wellness, you need to speak up. You need to clear out that throat chakra and don't be afraid to set clearer boundaries, have discussions, have conversations, speak up for yourself. It is so hard as a recovering people pleaser to admit how freaking hard it was for me to speak up for myself. And ironically or not, I don't believe in coincidences. I remember the first time I almost lost my battle with lupus, I was doing everything that I could, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And I was probably in my early 20s. And I came across Louise Hay, Heal Your Body, A to Z. Very, very basic, simple read. And wouldn't you know, I flipped to lupus. And underneath lupus, it says, you would rather die than speak up for yourself. Yeah. Spot on. Spot on. And from that point forward, I knew if I did not do all that I could, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to take care of myself, I wasn't going to make it. Okay? So the reason I'm bringing this up today is I just want to tell you that even though I have learned through diligent practice and patience and self-healing how crucial it is to speak up for yourself, and now I have no problem speaking and sharing. I do it all the time in my work. Every now and then, I still have a situation where there's a confrontation, and to this day, I innately want to shut off and avoid it if possible. And my mind plays this little bit of a trick on me where it may say, well, the best thing to do is just let it go and let it blow over. And I'm still practicing the ways in which I need to recognize that confrontation is absolutely necessary. And I'm getting better at it, I have to say. I'm definitely getting better at it, and less situations are coming into my existence where I have to deal with this kind of stuff. But something just happened yesterday. A situation arose with somebody that I'm a friend with. And of course, when you're friends with somebody and you don't want to have feelings hurt, it makes the confrontation even harder. And I knew right away I was feeling some sort of emotional trigger from some work-related stuff with a particular friend of mine. And I knew right away I was feeling this trigger arise. And it was a couple weeks now. And I kind of was letting it simmer. And then, you always have that one incident that's, the straw that breaks the camel's back, as they say, like that one final incident that happens where you're like, oh, I need to do something now. And that happened to me yesterday, where there was a boundary that was crossed within me, and I could no longer ignore it. And because of the work I do in the world, I also recognized what would now happen if I didn't address it. What would happen would be the behavior would continue, or somebody else would so graciously walk into my life and continue the behavior through them. And I was going to have to be faced to deal with this emotion because I felt it. And it wasn't coming from my reaction or emotion. I recognized was not coming from fear. It was not coming from lack base. It was not coming from anger or lower density emotion. It was coming from somebody very evidently crossing a boundary, doing something that was not acceptable. And I realized that it was my job to speak up, to, as gracefully as I can, create a conversation and share with this particular person that my boundaries were crossed and that I would appreciate, some mindfulness in regards to the situation moving forward. That being said, I didn't react negatively. There was no attack because I care for this person deeply. But it needed to be said. And actually, as I wrote it, I really went into my heart to make sure that I could be as graceful and honest and truthful to what I was feeling as possible. And, I'm always grateful and amazed that when I try to put my feelings into words, that I feel that as though it does come across as gracefully as possible. And at the end of the dialogue, I actually said, this was terrifying for me it was terrifying for me to even think about writing this. But I also said in the end of the message, but I recognize it as good for both of our souls' growths. And I honored that. I recognized that this was a lesson for me. There was a boundary that was crossed, not once, but a couple of times, and I was feeling a trigger. And I was recognizing it as my lesson to have the subtle confrontation as gracefully as I could. And, a lesson for this person as well, because there was a boundary that was crossed. So what I'm here to say is, to the people pleasers out there by the millions, after I spoke up, I immediately felt as though I leveled up somehow. Like I immediately felt like I knew I had done the right thing, and that I pulled even a little more of my power back to me. And I knew immediately that I had done the right thing, but it did take me a little bit of time to think about it and to gracefully put my feelings into words. And my feelings were coming from my heart and not from a lack-based mentality. But it felt right. And when I did it, I immediately knew I did the right thing. And I knew that, all right, this is a big quality that I have, and I need to continuously check in on me using my voice and speaking up for my own personal boundary system and what's right and what I feel is wrong. Fortunately, I don't have to do that much. I don't really attract that much energy in my life, but something arose, and I want to tell you all that I confronted it. And I didn't let a lot of time lapse either. I did let, as the situation was forming, I kind of felt it for maybe like 1 or 2 weeks. But then when that line was crossed, I didn't sit in that energy after my line was crossed and really let it tear me apart and talk to everybody about it and let it ruin my days. I did reach out to one person and had like a very short conversation. And I was like, all right, I'm doing this. Like I just like a little extra nudge, and hopefully next time I don't need that. But yeah, I nipped it in the butt right away. And, nobody likes confrontation. I don't believe. Now, some people may be so addicted to yelling and screaming and being angry and having confrontation that becomes some sort of dysfunctional addiction. But I think most people don't like confrontation. And especially the sensitive souls, the empaths, the people who, are lovers. They don't want to hurt anybody. And it's very, very difficult for people to speak up for themselves. I get it. I totally get it. I literally manifested a disease where the root cause was I'd rather die than speak up for myself. So I know how hard this is. But I'm here to tell you that if you process your feelings, you recognize your triggers as your body trying to tell you something, and you gracefully forming a conversation as best as you can, or even if it turns into a full-blown confrontation, just know that it's necessary at times to move energy through, not just for you, but mostly, and most of the time I see for both parties involved. Okay? So to the people pleasers, confrontation is necessary. Your voice is necessary. And the more and more you start to create your boundaries and speak up for yourself when necessary, you will just slowly and continuously pull back your power to where anything that arises that feels uncomfortable, you don't have to sit in that energy. You can address it and nip it in the butt as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you like my channel. And if you have any questions or any comments, please leave it in the comments box. Have a great day. Bye.